Rick Surowicz, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Rick Surowicz Watercolor. I'm live in my studio, and I'm going to be working on the first painting in a series of 4 mini landscape paintings. I'm going to put this together as a project, and I'm going to have some links on my website on my Learning Center page. Under the free content heading, you'll find something called projects, and there's where you'll find the videos, you'll find the reference material that's associated with this, which will be the finished painting and a template. And you'll find a series of links in the description of this video that will take you there. But make sure one of the things that you want to review before you do these paintings is the introductory video to this series, where I describe the paper I'm using, how I mat these, how you can also put them on greeting cards. And if you haven't seen that yet, you'll find the link again in the description of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my view, and I'm going to get ready to paint. So I'm going to show you my palette here, and I'm going to show you the image of the painting that I'm doing. So like I said, this is a small painting. These are intended to be fairly simple paintings, not real involved. They're not intended to be masterpieces. They're supposed to be something that you could paint, have a little bit of fun with, not take that long. And if you want, you can frame them up, and they'll fit nicely in a little 8x10 mat. So I'm going to go ahead and get going. And this is a lighthouse scene, and like I said, the template will be posted on my website. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a wash brush, and I'm just going to lay in a wash on the sky. So I'm going to take a little bit of, I guess I'll take some cerulean. These are intended to be very simple paintings in this series, not too involved. So I'm going to take a little bit of that cerulean blue, and I'm just going to lay some color in here. And I'm not using a reference photo to paint this right now. I drew this from some photos that I had taken, and the idea here is not to get so caught up in trying to make this look like a photograph, but just keep it nice and simple, and create a nice little painting without a lot of dependency on copying photographs. So you can see I'm just dropping a sky wash in here, and maybe I'll leave a little bit of some clouds if I want, just a little bit of, make it feel like a little partly cloudy day. Break those up a little bit more as we get down here. So not a real dark value, but I think I'll add a little bit more of the blue in there. Cerulean, just give a feeling of it's more of a partly cloudy day. So there we have the feeling of a partly cloudy day. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to approach this as though my light source is coming this way. So I'm going to add a little royal blue to this. I think I have a little something in my palette there. So there's some royal blue. It's a much darker blue, and I'm going to add a little rose madder. Some here. Get a little violet going. And I think I'm even going to add some raw sienna, just to have a warm tone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably switch. I'll use a little smaller brush. So I'm going to just paint kind of the shadow, where I would see the shadows in this. And let's see, if my light's coming from here, this is kind of like a big cylinder. We take a little of the blue, a little violet. I'm going to let that light stay light on the edge. I'm going to keep a light edge here on the front of the building, but a little shadow here on the tower. So you can see I'm not fussing a whole lot with this. I'm going to come over here on this side. And now I'm going to stay under the edge of that roof line. I'm not going to get the top of it yet because the paint's wet above it. I'm going to add a little bit of warm colors in here and a touch in here too. Get some reflected light. I'm going over the whole side, treating that as if it's in shadow. And a little bit of the same back here. So you can see how quickly I've started to describe what's going on. I think we'll put a bit of a cast shadow under here. And we're going to bring this down to where those windows are at. Perhaps a little shadow under here. So you can see how quickly I've started to find some shapes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give this a quick dry. Alright, so that's dry. And now I'm going to take a wash. I'm going to take my flat brush actually. I'm going to take a 1/2 inch flat brush. Take a little of this blue. I'm going to go a little darker. It's a little too dark probably. It's pretty good. I'm going to drag my brush, my flat brush, give a suggestion of the ocean there. So kind of a broken edge. I'll let that feel like there's some rough waves coming in. And we'll probably just leave it at that. And now I'm going to get some of this color off my palette. Just clean that off. And then I'm going to take a smaller brush here. I'm going to take a little of this royal blue, a smaller area with less water, and probably a little, let's say some burnt sienna. No, I'm going to take see, this is a quinacridone burnt orange, and I'll take a little rose madder, just a touch of that blue, and I'm just going to paint, trying to decide really where I want to go here. I'm going to paint this kind of an orange rust kind of a roof here. I'm familiar with this lighthouse, and I know it's got this kind of a reddish orange, kind of a rust color, I guess, rooftop. So I'm going to paint that. And there's actually a little piece of it here we're going to pick up over here as it goes into the tree. And then I'm going to give just a touch of it on the edge, just so we know that we're seeing the rooftop. I'm not going too crazy with it. Now I'm going to take a little of this and mix it with the blue just to get a little darker tone. And I'm going to paint, there's a little window in here. just give an indication of that. Go a little darker in here. So just a little bit of the edge. Using some lime. Don't have to get too crazy with that. A line there. And now we've got a bit of a window here. Touch that. And now I'm going to take a little rust or burnt sienna and some of this blue. I want to get a little darker. Throw a little rose in there maybe. So I kind of have a violet, kind of a grayed down violet almost. And I'm going to use that to paint the top here of the lighthouse. And go a little darker inside here. Paint around where that light is. Then we have some supports here. There's a railing that we'll pick up and get some kind of a reddish tone in here just so I'm mixing up those colors a bit. Very subtle. There we are. And then this piece comes out here. And then we have a bit of a railing. It continues over here. There we are. And now, I think what we're going to do, I'm going to paint a little bit of a shadow under here. A little stronger under here. And we have these little windows. I'm going to go ahead and paint these little windows in. So these are not intended, this is not intended to be a real complex, involved painting. This isn't what I would call a major piece. It's something I have a little bit of fun with. I've done some things like Christmas cards before. They're kind of along that line. These are just kind of a mini painting. Not intended to last real long in terms of the video. So I'm trying to get through this fairly quickly. And next, I'm going to take a little rose madder. Here's little rims. I want that to be toned down a little bit. I'm going to paint the light up there in the lighthouse. So we have that. And I think we're dry enough in some of these areas. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint some trees in. I'm just going to mix some sap green. Maybe a little quinacridone backward in gold. And you don't have to worry if you don't have the exact colors I have. Just use something that's close and you'll be fine. A little royal blue, a little pyro red. Gray that down some. Let's see what we have here. So there are those trees. Now I'm going to take a bigger brush and I'm going to take some of this and add a little bit of water to it. Drop in some more color. So you can see I'm not getting real involved with that. I'm going to switch back over. And I'm going to drop in these trees. I've got another tree just kind of hanging over here. I'm just going to drop that down there. And then I'm going to take some raw sienna, some burnt orange or something here. And I'm just gonna, and I want some blue. I'm trying to hurry as I do this because I don't want this to be real long. But I'm gonna give an indication of some, just some rock shapes. Not getting too crazy with them. I want to pick up some of the warmer color here though, a little bit more. So a little bit. I think I got a little bit of a glare that I'm picking up. Still want some of that blue. I'm going to give this a quick dry. I'm going to pause drying this for a moment. And what I want to do is I'm actually going to scrape in here a little bit. If I do this while it's damp, a little bit of a kind of a rocky feeling. So we get a little bit more feeling like rocks. Now we're going to dry. Alright, I've thoroughly dried this. And now, I'm going to do just a couple more things here and we'll be done. So I want to take just a little darker color. On that, I have a little more contrast than what I had. Just a little bit more, and then I'm going to do one more thing. And I probably shouldn't do, but we're going to do it to provide some interest here. And I'm going to take my liner brush. I'm going to throw in these little seagulls just to make it interesting. Have a little bit of fun with it. So I have my seagulls, I have my lighthouse, and if I put a little mat around this. So I hope you enjoyed watching that. This is just a simple little painting that you can frame up in an 8x10 frame with an 8x10 mat and hang it on your wall or give it away to friends. And be sure to catch the other videos that I have in this series.